Hello, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to Orijit's computer classes. Today, in this lecture, I will be discussing about the basic structure of C programming language. Okay, how we write a program in C. Before that, let me mention in this video, I won't be discussing about what is program and how programming language is execute because I have actually already discussed those in my Python lectures. Okay, because those are same for every because those are the fundamentals for any programming languages. That is true for every programming language. Okay, the execution and all. How does it run in memory? Okay, you can go to my Python lectures, the first video of Python. Okay, here what I will be starting with is the structure of the C program. Okay, how the syntax, basic syntax rather. Second, how basically the what activities occur behind the execution of the C program. Everything related to C, okay? Not the programming language in general. Fine. So before beginning the C programming language, okay, first let me ask you, when you are writing something or writing a letter to someone or want to have met some person for the first time, okay, have met a person for the first time, then what do you do first? You introduce yourself first, right? Similarly, in case of C program also, when we are starting a C program, we are interacting with the machine. We need to introduce that program to the machine, right? In the part of introduction, what we do first, of course, our name comes first. Say hello, my name is Orijit. So in this case, the name of the file, say first prog, okay, and of course we are writing C program. So we need to mention that we are writing a C program. So this extension dot C, okay. This file is created with the name first prog dot C. Now we can say what actually we need to say what we want to actually convey to the system or what we want the machine to do, right? uh, so up to the creation of file, I hope it is clear. Okay, now when we start a program, when we start any letter or any essay, okay, first thing what we do is we need to like write the introduction brief ourselves. Okay, in machine languages, what were the purpose of any programming languages? That actually it must take some task from us, from some input from us, okay, and the machine will perform that task and give some output to us, right? So that is the primary task of a programming language. So for that we need to include the functions of, because we are writing the program in C programming language, so definitely C programming language has its own grammar, its own syntax. So in order to access that, we need to include some library packages. Okay. For the input output in C, we have stdio.h. So how to include any library package? So first keyword which you write is, I am writing here in the comments, like including the library packages. Enter. So we can say hash include, okay, stdio.h. So stdio.h is a handler. I mean dot h represent it as a handler, and stdio the file for all the input output functions. It is a, I mean, sorry, not file. It's a library package, you can say, that has all the functions written necessary for taking input and for presenting the output to the user. Okay, and includes the, obviously includes the library package, right, in the program. Fine, hash include, we can say. So this is the first basic thing about C. Fine. Now comes our main part, main body, which we are going to do, which we are going to make the machine perform. Okay? So we need to understand how, from where will the C start reading the code. First, this library packages will be included. Okay, and then no matter whatever you write, okay, it will start its functioning from main function, main method. Okay, let me write the main method first. In the main method, as it is a method, okay, in C program, we need to mention the I mean the data type which that particular method is going to return. Method is, I mean, like the functions that we have already discussed. In, if you are a Python user, you must know about the functions. Similarly, in case of C, we have everything under, we write functions for everything we do. Okay, for a function to execute, it must take some input or may not, but it definitely, it must return something. Okay, so for a function to return something, okay, it has two categories. It has some return types. We need to mention what it wants to I mean, what we want that particular function to return. Okay, for that we need to mention some return type. The first type is number one, uh, no data type, I mean return type or returns no data, actually returns no data, that is void. Okay, second type is returns data. Now in C, if it is returning some data, if it is returning some data, then we need to mention the type of that data. Okay, that is the data types we have. Int stands for integer, float, okay, long, character. Okay, int has numbers from minus infinity to plus infinity, so minus 1 0 1, then you have 3 4 5 6 10, continues up to infinity, but it will not include, say, 2.0, 2.5, 3.6, 5. These are the numbers, like the decimal, which numbers which contains fractional values of the decimal points. Integer doesn't include any fractional values. Okay, if I talk about float, so then it includes, float includes these 2.5, all the fractional values as well as normal integers are represented. Like if you write 2, then 2 will be represented as 2.0, 3 as 3.0, 5.0, in this way. Okay, now long actually has because integer may at some point, after some point, it may not be able to store a huge value, then long comes into play. It is also it also stores integer data type, but it can store digits with, I mean, numbers with larger number of digits. Okay, these we will be discussing. It depends on the size of the data type. Okay, and the size of the data type in C depends on the type of compiler you are using. Okay, and character obviously stores A B C D, all the characters you have as per ASCII we have 128 characters. Okay, so A, B, C, D, hash, caret, it's everything. Even it includes the numbers also in the character form 0 to 9. Okay. Now, so if I am writing the main method, it must have some return type. Okay, it can be void. Okay, it can be int, it can be float. Okay, but we traditionally we follow writing int. Okay, because generally we have some integer to return. Okay, and uh, as this is the main method, starts reading from here. Okay, whatever the task we give, and as we need to return something, we are mentioning some data type to return. As soon as something, some function, some return, it returns something, the function stops there. Okay, so when will it stop? It will return some positive value, says I'm returning 0. It can return anything because it has some return type, right? Integer data type. So then I have to return some positive value. Any positive value you can return here. Okay, that is it. And here we can write our task. Okay, now as it is our first program, we can start writing, say, printf is the function for printing the output in the terminal screen. If say we write hello world, then we need to, like in any normal language, we terminate a statement. So we need to include semicolon. In normal languages, when you write something in English, a sentence, consider a sentence for example, then you end that particular sentence by sentence. If it is a question, then question mark. Okay, like this we have. In C, we terminate a statement using semicolon. Okay, that means we are saying this particular task ends here. Okay, if you don't include semicolon, then it will be a syntax error. Let me show you first. So if I include semicolon, it gives the output. So this is your hello world. Okay, and similarly if I say don't include the semicolon, okay, if I don't include the semicolon, it will throw some syntax error. Let me run it. See, in the first program expected semicolon before the return statement. See what it is doing, it can't find a semicolon. Okay, now that means it is directly going, it is, this statement is not getting stopped, and at the same time it is returning something, going to the next statement to return 0. Fine. So it when it is returning 0, it is saying that the printf is a separate function and it can't identify where it has ended, and therefore it is having an expectation of its end. The compiler is returning that expected semicolon. That means I am expecting the end of this function somewhere, but I am not finding it. I am unable to find the end of this function. But even after not finding the end of the function, I am approaching the return statement. So there must be some mistake. So I am including this semicolon. Okay, and if I run, fine. So you are getting the output, proper output. So this was our first program. Hope you guys understood the basic structure of the C program, right? Now we can also take input from the user. Now for taking input, we need a container to store that data from the user. Okay. So for that we need, that means container again means variables. So we need some variable. Now in C we need to mention, if we are mentioning the name of any variable, we also need to mention the type of data it is going to hold. That is the grammar of C. That is the syntax, basic syntax of C. When, because in case of method also, as you have seen, we need to mention the data type for each particular thing that is associated with data. We need to mention the type of data which it will be holding, or the type of data which it will be returning to the user, right? So if I declare a variable with name a, then I need to first mention a, then I need to mention what kind of data a is going to hold. So let me say it is going to hold integer, some integer type data. So int, then space variable name. Okay. And if I give a semicolon and print the value of a, okay, a doesn't have value, any value right now. Okay. So if I print the value of a, you will see, by the way, this modulus is the format specifier for integer data type, because as I mentioned, in every time when we perform something in C, I need to mention the type of data it is going to, because printf is going to return a data now. So printf also needs to know what type of data I am going to return. So for that, it needs to return an integer data type. That means I need to say mod d. Modulus d is a format specifier for integer data type. For float, we have modulus f. Okay. For long, I guess I have modulus ld. I need to be sure about this. I am not sure about this that much. For character, we have modulus c again. Okay. Long. Okay, this needs to be, it's, I guess, the much I know, it has to be mod ld or something, or you can say that even, I guess, mod d will also work. Okay, let me check once, because the format specifiers are, there are a lot of format specifiers in C, so that we need to remember format specifier for long in C, format specifier. Okay, so yeah, it's mod ld, right? I was right. Mod ld is the format specifier for long data type. That is the, basically, long is the long integer. Okay, and therefore that's all. That is the format specifier concept. So we are saying modulus d and a, print the value of a, please. So what does it print? Let us see. So it is returning this value. So what is actually happening? Let me show you. When we are declaring this variable a, then we have some value called garbage value. And this garbage value can be anything that is present in the memory before you give anything. Okay. Before you assign any value to that particular variable, it has some garbage, it is associated with some, assigned with some garbage value. Okay. Now, if I write int a is equal to 10, then it is going to print, let me see, it's 10. Okay, because the garbage value is getting replaced by the value that we are giving. So this garbage value will actually get replaced by the value that I type. Okay, this one and this one. Right, let me erase this. Fine. Right. So this garbage value gets replaced by uh, the 10 value, whatever value you give. In this case, it is 10. Change the color. Fine. That's all. Now if I want to take input from user in this particular variable, so we have a function called scanf. Let me not erase this value, and printf will print the value of a. And so we have a function called scanf, and as we are writing scanf also needs to know what kind of data we are accept. I need to accept integer type, so again format specifier modulus d, and then I need to mention the variable where I am going to take the input. Now here comes trick. Let me show you. This scanf will not be able to take the input. Why? Because when we are writing this variable a, it is given a memory block, and it this memory block has some address, say for example 1000. In reality, the addresses are of hexadecimal values, but for your understanding, I'm using some integer value. Okay, consider 1000 is the value of this memory address. This is a huge chunk of memory, say the RAM where the program gets executed, and here you have some partitions. Okay, this block, then this block, it has long band strip, this block. Okay, and in this way it has certain blocks, and say a is somewhere here, a. Okay, in this block it is having a value called, say, 10. Okay, fine. And let me better draw it in this way. I'm not making the partitions for you right now. So this is the memory block, and this is where somewhere a is present with the address. Here it is 10, 10 and 1000. Okay, now so when I'm talking about scanf and I'm mentioning that I need some input in a, so if I need input in a is a container of, consider for example, so how will the system find where is that container, right? Because I am just saying the name of the container, that is a, and where is a present, how will the system know? Because this, it has some, a has some specific memory address. Okay, and in at which portion of the memory I am having a, the system needs to know, and therefore we use a symbol called ampersand, and this ampersand says that please take the input at the address of a. So whatever be the address of a, this ampersand gives in return that address of a at 1000. This will be returned to scanf function, this address 1000, this block will, the scanf will get access to this block 1000, and then whatever the value you will be typing, whatever value you will be typing through keyboard in the from the input device, that will be stored in that particular block. Okay, so let us check. If I write 10 from my keyboard, okay, and printf mod da, so yeah, it is printing 10. Okay, let me write it better. I am writing a is equal to mod d. Let us see if we are getting the right output at the right time. So if I am saying 20, then 20, oh, I have not saved it, sorry. Let me write 20 and a is equal to 20. If I write 50, then a is equal to 50. If I don't give this ampersand, now see what happens. So I am not giving this ampersand. That means, let me show you the output directly. Let us write. Say I'm writing 20. Okay, because scanf is working actually to take the input, but it will not be able to store enough in that particular memory block. So a is equal to 3358 is some random value. What is this actually? The garbage value present in a. Okay, that particular before, because see a int a we declared, and scanf although took input from us, but uh, it wasn't able to assign that value in that particular memory chunk which is assigned to a, right? And therefore a has no value, a has garbage value, and a is equal to, that is why when we are printing a is returning some garbage value that is present in it definitely, right? So that was about today's lecture, the process, the basic structure of a C programming language and the way we take input and output. Okay, so now it got corrected. Fine. In the next lecture, we will be discussing about these data types, fine, and their format specifiers. Okay, and we will be discussing in depth about the operators, different operations we can do using C programming language. Thank you, guys. Stay tuned.